task ahead is slowing down the Andy Dalton-led Carolina Panthers in a Red Rifle revenge game.
You're going to get an angry Bengals team. They're going to be a little incensed coming into Carolina this weekend.
What we have ahead of us is going to be a tall task, but I think we're ready for it.
This isn't the first time we've gone through adversity, so we know how to get ourselves out of it.
So you're hoping they hit a stride where they feel like they're the team they want to be.
The offense is here. The offense is back. Because with a healthy arsenal of pass catchers for Joe Burrow, they're going to score points.
They have to really be able to focus in on the next game and not continue to see the end result of what it's going to be down the road.
It's a cat fight between the Queen Cities as the Bengals visit Charlotte this weekend, hoping to leave victorious. Welcome into Bengals Weekly. I'm Marissa Contipelli. Sunday marks the 8th meeting all-time between Cincinnati and Carolina, and the second straight week that the Bengals will take on an NFC opponent. So as we get you set for kickoff between the Bengals and the Panthers, Andrei Iosivas found the end zone again last week. So we sit down with the receiver to break down some film. Fox analyst Daryl Johnston joins the show to give us his preview for this weekend's matchup. And on Countdown, I'll tell you what Jamar Chase needs to join a list of only 4 other players in NFL history. But first, Andrei seems to have a knack for finding the end zone. His touchdown last week was his 3rd of the season, as he has proven to be a reliable target for Joe Burrow. We now go behind the stripes with the receiver.
This type of year, great players step up.
A leaping catch by Iosivas.
Iosivas with his first NFL touchdown.
Well, ever since he got here, he's been a guy that's grown every day, every year. He got here really raw.
First day, let's get it.
He's taking the coaching. He's the first one on the field, last one to leave.
Practice is where you get better. Football is one of the only sports where you practice more than you play. Practices are just as important as the game.
Really, since day one, he's shown Joe and the other quarterbacks that he can be trustworthy. They see the hard work, the dedication he puts into his craft. That's really fruit of his labor.
You can go into practice wanting to work on certain things, just getting better and being consistent.
And so I knew that the work that he puts in, he's going to reach all his goals, and he's done that, and so it's not surprising the success he's had.
A dive toward the pylon, touchdown, Andrei Iosivas.
Yeah, that was a special catch, to be able to catch it number one and then be able to get this 2 feet in bounds. It was a big moment of the game.
After the Kansas City game, it was probably like 4 catches, 2 touchdowns.
Those rare stats that I hadn't seen in a long time, but he does the right things over and over. So I think good things happen to those people that put in the work and do the right things.
Here's Burrow. Nice catch.
Personally, that was my favorite play so far.
It was one that fans probably may not have even noticed, but it was kind of late in the game. He ran an inside post route, and Joe kind of threw it a little bit behind him.
And that little back shoulder ball I caught in the middle of the field that I had missed against Kansas City.
Right through the hands.
I beat myself up about it just a little bit, but worked on that catch all week.
Just the progression, the work he puts in between week 1 and week 2 and week 3, be able to make that catch, which is very similar, was just, it's a proud moment, something where I see his work is paying off.
This league is so much about how you test yourself mentally and overcome things mentally.
We expect more of him, expanded role, not just in the red zone, but anywhere on the field he can be a playmaker, and he's got to continue to work. Don't become complacent when you have success, and I don't think he will. He's just that type of guy that he wants to be great.
To be great, I think I'm driven to be great. I think I'm driven to get all the potential out of myself and become the player that I want to be.
What's your standard, and what do you, when you come to work every day, what's that look like? And he's really shown what his standard is. He's going to come to work, he's going to work hard, he's going to do all the little things. And so as long as he's consistent in doing that, he's going to have a great career.
Good players are great sometimes, but great players are good all the time. And so that's the thing about consistency that I've been talking about. I think that the great players are always consistent. And whether or not you get the receptions on game day, it's just whether your film speaks to the consistency of your work.
Well, coming up next, we continue with the touchdown machine as Andrei breaks down some of his top plays as a Bengal. Bengals Breakdown is straight ahead here on Bengals Weekly. Bengals Weekly is brought to you by Kettering Health, the official healthcare provider of the Cincinnati Bengals. And Paycor, proud to be the official HR software provider of the Cincinnati Bengals. Welcome back to Bengals Weekly. Andrei Iosivas' catch-to-touchdown ratio is off the charts, as the second-year receiver is tied for the league lead in receiving touchdowns this season. And his 7 career touchdowns is already the most in NFL history by a player who played his final year at Princeton. So we thought it was time to sit Andrei down and take a closer look at his film.
Cincinnati 3, Kansas City 3, and the Bengals have it.
We're in the end zone here, in the red zone. We need a score. I see they're playing man all across the board. The way they're lined up, press, no safeties deep, pressed. And you see these guys are most likely going to double Jamar. So that means somebody else has to win here. We can win here, or here. But Joe decides to go to me here. And so I'm running like a fade. So I know I need a little bit of time to set him up so that I can win leverage outside here. But I see that he doesn't throw it, or he's not gonna throw it. So we have the option on this route, always ready for the fade. But if he doesn't throw it, then I know exactly where he's gonna throw it. If he's a little late, then I can just break it off here. So that's exactly what I did.
3rd down and goal from the 4. A dive toward the pylon. Touchdown, Andrei Iosivas.
You can see I'm not even looking at him. Like he's about to throw it right now, and my eyes are pointing that way. And so we're on the same page there, and he literally just puts it in the spot where only I could get it, right at that front pylon. And then I drag my feet. I have to wait again a little bit to get the confirmation. I'm telling him, hey bro, I dragged it. Like Ocho. Jamar's getting doubled, and my route was one of the first reads in the concept. I think he feels comfortable looking towards me, and I feel comfortable winning on those kinds of routes. And there was a touchdown, and then I get fined right there. Okay, so this is in the 3rd quarter. I'm pretty sure it's 4th down here, where I'm the last read on this backline drag. I try to break this defender's leverage because he's outside of me. So I stem at him to kind of just get him frozen a little bit because I know I have to win back inside. So as you can see, this number 2 is trying to undercut me because he knows I'm going inside. I have to go to basically, if I feel like he's undercutting me, I can take it out the back door and swirl back out this way. Joe immediately saw that he was undercutting me, and I felt it as soon as I stemmed inside, he was going under me. So we were on the same page again there, and Joe hits me perfectly. That was a big play, it was a fun play. And I'm glad Joe still trusts me in the end zone, and I'm just there always to make big plays wherever my name is called. So.
4th down and goal from the 3. The Bengals elect to go for it.
This is my touchdown here. We're gonna use the motion here to see what kind of coverage they're in. So this guy and this guy are gonna have me and T here. That this guy was guarding me. So I would be able to get a rub from T based on the route concept. T sets a nice rub for me there. So you see I win my leverage just by going in and having a good break. And so I come back out. The ball's a little high, but I know I just have to kind of will my way into the end zone here. I was lucky enough to barely get the ball to cross the plane. I liked my route there, but I think just my recognition of the defense helped me there as well. So it was a good play.
Now it's time for us to take you down to field level and listen in to the sounds of our Monday night game against Washington. Here is this week's Mic'd Up.
Grew up as a kid waiting for these opportunities. We're living in the moment, man. It's a great day to get back on track, man.
Monday night, prime time, showtime. Where else would you rather be?
Tonight, the primetime spotlight shines on Cincinnati.
Go!
The atmosphere for night games is absolutely electric.
Start with us, Cowboys. Who they say all big them Bengals? Who they?
Nobody! Burrow under center, play action fake, 5-step drop. Deep
Oh,
ball
baby.
for Chase.
Yeah.
Got it at the 5. Touchdown!
Good round, boy.
Every ball you're there.
Yes, sir.
Every ball you're there.
Yes, sir. Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Hey, what year is this for you? 6. Why you ain't throwing over the ball? Why you ain't throwing over the ball?
1st and 10 at the 29 of Cincinnati. Robinson stacked up.
Let's go! Hey, Logan. Ball, ball, ball. Hey, we good, fellas. Let's just play. Come on, Joe. Play. Play. Have fun. Let's go. Find a way. Let's go. Let's go.
Hands it off. Robinson grabbed by the feet, brought down by Sam Hubbard.
Yes, Sam. Find a way. Find a way. We gotta find a way. Find a way. Find a f***ing way. Let's go. Hey, let's go. 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 Let's stop. Yeah, King. Yeah, King. Let's go. Let's go.
They can't stop me.
Let's go. I'm telling you, I'm really like that. I'm really like that. I'm really like that. I'm really like that.
Well, Cincinnati is set to square off against a familiar face in Carolina. When we return, we check in with Daryl Johnston, who will be on the call for Bengals versus Panthers. Stay with us here on Bengals Weekly. Bengals Weekly is brought to you by your local Kia dealers. Visit kia.com to discover movement that inspires. And Alta Fiber, the official Wi-Fi and internet provider of the Cincinnati Bengals. Welcome back to Bengals Weekly. Daryl Johnston will be on the call for Fox in Carolina as the Bengals are looking to get a road win this weekend. The 11-year NFL vet now joins Dan Horde to give us his preview.
There is going to be a moose sighting in Carolina this Sunday as former Dallas Cowboys and Syracuse Orange fullback Daryl Johnston will be in the booth for Fox. Moose, I have to ask you this question. As you look at the Bengals offensively and defensively, what are a couple of things that stand out that they must do better going forward?
Well, I think the big question is going to be the injury at right tackle this week. You're bringing in a young guy, Amarius Mims comes in. To be able to step into that game last week against, NFL edge rushers, I think you hold your own, but you got to be smart when you're protecting your edges. So I think from an offensive standpoint, what's really kind of jumped out to me is the running game. That's one of the areas where I think there's a little bit of a surprise there. But, Chase and Zach have done a really nice job. I'm a big fan of Lou Anarumo. I think he puts together really good plans. I think he varies what he wants to do based on the opponent that he's working against. So I was really surprised to see Washington and Jaden put up that many points.
The Bengals don't have a fullback on the roster, but rookie tight end Eric All has been lining up a decent amount at fullback over the last couple of weeks, and he's not afraid to hit somebody. Has number 83 jumped out on tape to you? And what do you think about teams that are incorporating the fullback into their offense?
For me, we always used the personnel group that the fullback was in as a way to get our favorable matchup. And Eric's doing a really nice job. He's as complete. I think you heard Troy talk very, very highly about him. And I think for somebody like Eric in that position where you can play traditional tight end, you can play, the tight end that goes out into the slot area and breaks formation. You can be a guy that can come off the wing, go into the backfield. So for somebody to be able to do that effectively in both areas, in both positions, it has always been extremely impressive to me.
So heading into the game, Carolina has given up the most points of any team in the NFL. The Bengals obviously have some injury issues on their defensive line. Does it kind of feel like this might be a shootout to you?
I didn't anticipate seeing that. I was not sure how good the supporting cast was. I've kind of watched this team build their offensive line over the last 3-4 years, and they've done a nice job with that. It's hard to win games in the NFL. It's hard to replicate an offensive performance like Carolina had last week. There's going to be a ton of pressure on this Bengals team for the rest of the season. And I like Joe's words when he talked about, I don't want to hear anybody talking about playoffs right now. This is 1 week at a time. And he knows that there's 14 more games, but we got a lot of work to do. It's not going to be easy getting enough wins in those 14 to be able to get an opportunity to get into the playoffs.
They obviously need one this week, and we hope that you are calling it for Fox. Daryl, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, Dan. Always good to visit with you.
Who Dey Nation, it's time to recognize our high school coaches. Nominate your coach for the Bengals Coach of the Week, presented by Paycor. Visit Bengals.com/Coach of the Week for more information.
Well, coming up next, it's Contipelli's Countdown, where I'll tell you what yardage Ja'Marr Chase needs to join an exclusive list. Stay with us here on Bengals Weekly. Welcome back to Bengals Weekly. 9-1. It's a phrase Bengals fans have grown accustomed to, as Joe Burrow and Ja'Marr Chase have chemistry like no other. The pair linked up for 2 touchdowns last week for the first time this season, as their first one vaulted the duo to the tops in a deep category.
The 41-yard touchdown on the opening drive from Burrow to Chase marked the 13th deep touchdown by the pair since Chase entered the NFL, and it's the second most in the league by a duo in that time frame. That play counted as Burrow's 20th career touchdown of 40 or more yards, the most by any quarterback since he entered the league. And it is good for Chase's 12th touchdown catch of 40 or more yards. Now this season, Chase has caught all 3 of his deep targets over 20 air yards, as last week was the 5th career game where he has logged 100 or more receiving yards with 2 or more touchdowns. That is tied for the most games in the NFL since 2021. Chase needs 68 receiving yards over the next 2 games to become the 5th player in the Super Bowl era with 4,000 receiving yards and 30 or more touchdowns in their first 50 games. And since the start of the 2021 regular season, Burrow is one of 2 players with at least 1,000 completions, 75 touchdowns, 10,000 passing yards, and a passer rating of 100. His 89 touchdown passes since 2021 are 4th most in the league, despite him playing 3 fewer games than any other quarterback in the top 5. He is also the only quarterback in the NFL this season with 100 or more pass attempts without an interception. And when you look at Burrow's stats from week 4 onward, since 21, he is 23-10, the 6th best win-loss mark in the NFL. Well, Sunday will mark the 8th time the Bengals have squared off against the Panthers, with the last time coming in 2022. The Bengals were victorious in that meeting in Cincinnati, as their 5 rushing touchdowns tied a new team record. Burrow accounted for 2 of the team's touchdowns in the 42-21 win. This season, the Panthers enter Week 4 allowing a league-high 31 points per game and gave up a season-high 47 points in their Week 1 loss. But the Bengals will see a familiar face on Sunday, as Andy Dalton is set to make his 2nd consecutive start for Carolina. Dalton remains the Bengals' all-time leader in passing touchdowns and completions, and 2nd in passing yards. Dalton and Burrow are the only 2 quarterbacks in the league to have thrown 300 or more passing yards and 3 or more touchdowns in a game. Both QBs did it last week.
Contipelli's Countdown is brought to you by your local Kia dealers. Discover what happens when rugged capability meets true performance. To learn more, visit kia.com. Kia, movement that inspires.
It's now time for this week's Kettering Health Fantasy Report. Ja'Marr Chase was the top-scoring Bengal in Week 3 after posting over 29 fantasy points, thanks to his 6 receptions for 118 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Commanders. Chase also came in as the 2nd highest scoring receiver for the week. Joe Burrow put up his best numbers of the season last week after his 324-yard, 3-touchdown night against Washington. Burrow posted over 25 fantasy points, making him the 7th highest quarterback in Week 3. And for Carolina, Chuba Hubbard posted over 27 fantasy points last week after logging 169 scrimmage yards and a touchdown. On the season, Hubbard is averaging just over 13 fantasy points per outing.
Thanks for tuning in to Bengals Weekly. Kickoff between the Bengals and the Panthers is coming up. For Dan Horde and our entire crew, I'm Marissa Contipelli. We'll see you next week.
Bengals Weekly was brought to you by Paycor, proud to be the official HR software provider of the Cincinnati Bengals. AltaFiber, the official Wi-Fi and internet provider of the Cincinnati Bengals. And Kettering Health, the official healthcare provider of the Cincinnati Bengals.